The Incredible Hulk will not be presented this evening.
Damn!
Welcome, everybody. It is Wednesday night. The date is November 15th. We're halfway through November.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Just like
month
that.
is flying by. I've been 15 days back on dairy. And, yeah, my weight's the same. 173, 174.
Well, that's lower
what's
than
that?
it was. I said that's lower than it was.
After last month, yeah, I dropped a bit. What is happening, Matt? Welcome back, Matt.
Thank you.
And Joe, welcome.
Hello, everybody.
I will more than likely not be here next Wednesday because we're going up to Pennsylvania for Thanksgiving.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Let me just say this. Guys, have you ever seen the commercial? Which, by the way, YouTube, I've had enough with commercials. Like, I'll watch something, a commercial will kick on, and then it'll show the video for another 5 seconds, and then kick on another commercial. And they have that Purdue University thing, Purdue Global. I'm making my comeback. They have some heavy-set woman with the fakest blonde wig. I'm like, did she steal Tom Petty's wig? What? It looks ridiculous. It's awful. But have you ever seen the commercial where the guy's like, get your hands off my Old Spice?
I use an ad blocker on YouTube, so I don't see any commercials.
Oh, my God. The guy's in like an $800 robe. He's at a resort with his wife, and he's yelling at her to take her hands off his $5 fucking bath product. It's like, really?
That's the married couple that always,
It's obnoxious. Oh, yeah, get your hands off my Old Spice. It's $5. By the way, go take a dump on my duvet. That only cost me $6,000. But get your hands off of my $5 fucking. It's the worst. I won't buy Old Spice now because of that commercial. Irritates me so.
Did you ever buy Old Spice?
I did. Well, I used to like their deodorant, but I'm telling you, no longer. No longer. You know, another thing is something came on my feed the other day, and it was like, I think it was like a 4-year-old video from G&L. Leo's design from like his last design, and they go back to it. Let me give G&L some fucking advice that they probably have already heard from me before. You know, Leo was a great inventor and great at what he created, but give it a fucking rest and let's improve it. Music Man improve the designs that Leo did. They didn't sit there and say, oh, this is what Leo design was, because Leo's design for that dual fulcrum tremolo sucks. Those fucking whatever those pickups are called, those zigzag pickups, suck. There was no need for it. Let me fix something there's no need to fix. Floyd Rose came along and fixed and told everybody use the 2-pin fulcrum, the 2 knife edge. That's all you need to do. But fix the bridge, put a wheel on the thing, and stop living off of Leo's name. I mean, could you imagine if Ford came out and said, "We found Henry Ford's last drawing of a car. We're going to put it out now." And it's like the fucking 1930s technology. Yeah, should I buy this new Ford or this thing that's running on fucking piss and steam? I got
on piss steam.
Hey, why did you buy a coal-fired car engine? This is Henry Ford's lost design. G&L just told me to buy it because they're putting out fucking 30, 40-year-old fucking Leo fender designs. Guys, think about this for a second. When Back to the Future, hey, here comes good old Howie. Hold on a second. In Back to the Future, hold on, Howie. Let me fix everything here. In the movie Back to the Future, when Michael J. Fox goes back in time, they're playing Mr. Sandman. It's 1955. If we were to go back 30 years, they'd be playing Enter Sandman. Right? It's 30 years ago. Mm-hmm. How fucking whacked is that? Are we old?
Right? Yes, we are.
Shit. You certainly are.
Unbelievable.
So you led with
if we go back 30 years, but Bingham isn't even 10. Oh no, he's 10 or 11.
I'm 12.
Speaking of Bingham and the 10, how is the 10 doing out there, Bingham?
That's a great question. I haven't had to drive it, so I haven't been concerned.
Can everybody hear me, by the way?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Howie, now,
yes.
You are in the state of Kansas, I believe?
I'm in Kingman, Kansas.
All right. Now, why don't you tell everybody what you're doing out there?
I don't know, Dave. Getting ready to
When is your gig?
But it's tomorrow. I was in downtown LA last night, and I got off an exit to get to where I was going. And sometimes there can be a little traffic coming down like a ramp over the freeway and around the corner into a parking lot that I go to. Sometimes that can take, on a bad traffic night, 15 to 20 minutes. It took me an hour last night to go
wow,
not even a quarter mile. And it's because all the freeways were backed up. Everything because of that 10 freeway, like you were just talking about, it's affecting everything.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's a major artery for that whole city, man. So you shut that down and people are all fucked up.
Insane.
Now, if anyone is in the Kansas area and they were going to see Howie play tomorrow night, where would they be, Howie?
The something Kingman Grand Old Theater or something like that.
Oh, all right. And you'll be playing with Winger, I believe?
Yes, Winger.
Excellent.
It's like 30 minutes from... I landed in Wichita, so it's 30 minutes in some direction from Wichita.
Okay, but that would make
But
30.
On Saturday, we are in Golden, Colorado, not that far from Denver.
Oh, okay. Golden, Colorado. That's on Saturday?
Correct. The home of Coors Beer.
Adolph Coors. Boulder, Colorado. Golden, Colorado. Wow. All right, nice. And how long a show is that? About an hour and a half? What are they putting on these days?
I don't know. I think we're 75 to 90, I think.
All right.
Somewhere in between.
Not bad. Not bad at all.
So I'm on my phone. And my eyes don't work anymore because we are getting old. Is that Bingham in the top corner there?
Oh, that's Bingham, all right.
Yeah.
All right.
Sure
John,
is.
You look good when I can't see you.
Exactly.
We have him turn his lights down.
Everyone says that.
I always advised my poor wife, take your glasses off first. You know?
Actually, Bingham, you're looking like a little narrow in the face. Are we under 3?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right.
Were you ever over 3?
Oh yeah, dude.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you just it's hard to tell because I carry most of it in my scrotum.
Exactly.
Which not many have seen that up close. Dave has.
Well, many times.
So you basically have one of those hippity hops between your legs at all times, right?
Yeah, I'm like Randy Marsh.
That's a great South Park. That's a great one. That is a great one.
When the time is right, I've got some interesting music business news, but the timing has to be right. We want it to be natural. I don't want to just drop this on everybody.
You know what? I will throw some music.
And I know
at
you don't
first.
I know you don't like the guitar industry, so Dave's guitar channel, maybe.
Yeah, we don't really talk guitar. Let me ask you this: other than we know Van Halen had more success with Sammy than David Lee Roth, although most people prefer the David Lee Roth years. Would we agree?
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Absolutely.
AC/DC. Some people are going to say they like the Brian Johnson era. Some people like the Bon Scott, but both were great. And as I was telling Joe and Matt before the show, I've been listening to a lot of Genesis lately. Have you got any of you guys Genesis fans? Because here's a band that has 2 singers and was more successful with the second singer.
Well, they totally changed their sound too.
That was pop.
Well, they didn't really change it until they didn't really change a lot till maybe mid 80s, because even though the hits were the hits, they were still writing poppy. If you look at albums like Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, The Grand Parade's a pop song. The Carpet Crawlers is somewhat poppy. It didn't land. And like I said, Squonk is kind of a typical Genesis song, which was on the first album with Phil Collins singing.
But you know what?
If you listen to Abacab has just a few hits, and the rest of it's all prog rock stuff.
You know what the real difference was, though? The Phil Collins Genesis had the benefit of a young, new MTV that was just, booming across the country.
Oh, yeah. Well, they also boomed a little bit before MTV, because when I was a kid, that Duke album with there must be some misunderstanding was on the radio everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
I definitely think they had success before that led them to getting more popular. Because if you think about the image of most successful pop acts right in that time period, Genesis had no image whatsoever, but yet was still somehow able to maintain an MTV presence, which is really shocking if you think about it. I mean,
yeah,
there were no charmingly good-looking guys in the band. They didn't have any hip haircuts or wear any cool clothes. They looked like 3 soccer dads, really, but yet still did really well.
And I think a lot of people are under the assumption that the Phil Collins era stuff is all Phil. And most of those songs are not. I mean, most of it's Tony Banks and Mike Rutherford. And Banks is probably the biggest writer in the band who wrote most of the stuff. So, but I happen to think that I like them both. I do think the Phil Collins stuff for me, I do like better. But there's also some Phil stuff that I think is shite after 1983. I think the band took a turd. But before 1983, I like the Phil stuff better than the Peter stuff. And it's still, like I said, I mean, I would put Squonk up against Watcher of the Skies. And I do like that sound better. But I do like Peter as well.
Mike Rutherford
Studio, was that Genesis or was that Phil Solo? I think that's Phil Solo.
Yeah, I think
it's Solo, yeah.
Yeah.
I like the song Silent Running from Mike Rutherford.
Yeah?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, what's his name singing that tune?
Mike and the Mechanics.
No, but the singer was Paul Carrick was the singer on that.
I think one of well, I was going to say of that era, but I think one of the best pop rock songs ever written and recorded is Easy Lover that he did with Philip Bailey from Earth, Wind & Fire. I think that song is
Awesome.
brilliant.
Yeah. Oh, it's great. Like I said, I like Phil, but I like Philip Bailey a lot. I was a huge Earth, Wind & Fire fan. He says down by the sea. I think he means home by the sea. Home by the... Picking up the pieces. Yeah.
Hugh Caldwell speaking my
Ricky
language in the chat.
Ricky Compton's asking, Howie, did you play guitar on the new Winger album?
No, I did not. I'm a sub for the live gigs. I've been doing the sub thing for the last more than 5 years now with them. And this year just happened to be especially busy with how much they've needed me. I subbed for a guy named John Roth, who's been in the band since 1993. So the band is currently and it's been a 5-piece for a while. It's the 4 original guys that go back to the old days and John Roth. And John also plays in Starship with Mickey Thomas. So when both Starship and Winger are booked at the same time, John always goes to the Starship show, and I get the Winger gigs.
So
Nice.
Reb Beach is in the band?
Reb is just a few rooms that way, yeah.
Oh, okay.
You want to go knock on
Pedro
his door?
saying taking in is a great mechanic. Taking
Get him on
in.
camera while he's in the bathtub.
Taking in.
I'm taking a shit. Go away.
What are you trying to say, John?
The Dave's guitar channel sometimes is Dave's adult guitar channel.
We like to
Sometimes we
think
get
of it
stuff
as
like
the
that.
virtual Roman holiday.
Yeah, everybody's having a good time.
Just relax. I'm relaxing. Great solo, yeah. Phil crazy. Yeah, Phil's a great drummer. Like I said, I mean, again, another great song with Peter Gabriel singing is "Fly on the Windshield," and there's some great drumming on that, very Bonham-esque.
Was a great drummer, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he's
Hey,
he's better than Neil Peart right now.
Oh,
Is he, though?
that's wrong.
I think so. He can hit a snare.
So
I'm not a huge Neil. You know, people always give me a hard time because they don't get that. I don't really. I mean, I think Neil's a great drummer, but he doesn't make my top 10.
Yeah,
And Howie, you and I, we won't go into this deeply.
he's
But
above
you
your
and I
top
had
10.
a conversation. Well, me and Howie had a conversation. I want to go back about 15 years, maybe more. And I was telling you about how, like, a drummer, which we were discussing drummers, and I was like, there has to be that groove that when you hear him, you just kind of start to do this. And there was one drummer that didn't do it for me. I don't want to bring him up, but I'm just saying. Do you remember that at all, or not really?
It's a long time ago, no.
Yeah. We were talking about a certain drummer, and you were like, you thought, you know, I kept saying to you, I don't care for him because I just doesn't make my head go like this. He's very choppy playing, and then.
I think I know who you're talking about. But yeah. I mean, there are guys who have way, way less physical chops than Neil Peart did.
Right.
But you can recognize them right away. Like Ian Pace from Deep Purple, you can recognize him right away. There's just such a distinct groove to everything that he plays.
Yeah.
And you know,
The groove matters, man. You know, it's like the groove is king. You know. Now, who's you're playing with a drummer that I think is considered one of the world greats.
Oh, Rod, I love playing with Rod. He's the best, literally the best.
Yeah. Rod Morgenstern, everybody.
Steen.
Now,
Steen.
if we can get the camera down into his room, I believe.
It was Rhoda Morgenstern.
Oh, it's Rod Morgenstein?
Steen,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh, I thought it was Stern.
No, that's Rhoda. She lived upstairs.
Well,
Yes.
who am I, Carlton, your doorman?
Yes.
This is Carlton, your door.
Well, I was going, when I said upstairs, that was Mary Tyler Moore. But yeah, when she moved, Carlton was the doorman.
Yeah, and who was Rhoda's father?
That I don't remember.
The actor?
Yeah, wasn't it Joe Campanella?
Maybe.
I know he's the father. One day at a time.
No, this one. Who was her sister?
Oh,
that was Julie Kavner.
There you go.
Also known as Marge Simpson and
Well, I was going to
Selma
say Patty and Selma.
Patty and Selma.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, Rhoda. Right? She had that same voice. Rhoda.
Yep.
Oh, didn't Rhoda marry Joe?
Yeah.
That was like the biggest TV wedding.
I was going to say, yeah, that was one of the, that was like, at that point, it was the most watched episode of television ever.
Right, and I think the thing that beat it out was when Princess Di got married. I'm not kidding.
This conversation's taking some weird turns. We go from Rod Morgenstein to Rhoda to Princess Di.
Ever since John turned this episode into a bathhouse.
Let's get Howie on the show to talk about Rhoda.
Dave, didn't Howie take you to Richie Kotzon's to play cards a couple of times?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. You told me he took you over there.
Yeah, we played at that card game. I went on, Rhoda's dad. Oh, Henry Gould. You mean Harold Gould, RL? Who's Henry Gould? I think you mean Harold Gould.
It's Elliot Gould's dad, right?
No, Harold Gould was the original Howard Cunningham on for Happy Days, but he was on the Love American Style version when they ran the pilot.
Harold Gould, according to the interwebs.
All right, so I am right.
Speaking of that reminds me to segue. John, you got any music business news?
Yes, that's an interesting point. What is the
Yeah. So, well, I'm gonna say this in two parts. Both of them have to do with Marshall. Does anybody paid attention to Marshall in the last day? And I'm not talking
Marshall,
about
Will and Holly.
I'm not talking about Slash and this magnetone thing, and then Slash walking back the magnetone thing a little bit. First of all, were we all aware of Slash coming out and announcing that he's got a signature coming out with magnetone?
No.
No.
Okay, so this happened last week. The news is traveling fast, but this is not the big part of the news. The thing that was funny about it was he announced this, and then I think somebody, like maybe a corporate attorney or something, came to Slash and waved a contract in his face, and he had to walk it back a little bit. And then he released this big PR statement saying like, oh, but by the way, I'm still working with Marshall, and I still love those guys, and they're still the best, and all this and that. And so it was like, oh boy, that's awkward. So, but Marshall, who's owned by this company Sound, this Swedish company that makes all their headphones and refrigerators and shit, right? They have a new CEO or whatever of the Marshall Amps division, and he came out and made some bullshit speech the other day about what he's planning on doing with the Marshall segment. And this is leading somewhere, by the way, I promise.
Okay.
He comes out and he's like making these ridiculous numbers, which are not right, by the way. He says the amplifier space is $100 billion space. And we think Marshall can aggressively attack it. I love the look on your face right there. Yeah, it's not even remotely close to $100 billion space.
RL says he listens to Paul Stanley about Slash. That's where he gets
Are you
his
sure
Slash.
he didn't say 100 billion Swedish crowns and not dollars?
Right? Yeah, exactly.
That's like $50.
Oh my god. Anyway, long story short, he said they're going to attack that space, and they think they're going to become a $3 billion business. Well, Marshall is, according to their last report, because in the UK businesses have to release like these tax statements. Their last report last year, they did $35 million in business.
Oof.
Okay, so they're not even sniffing the toenail of $2 billion, right? $35 million company. Anyway, he says this, and I think it's to rile up all the investors and whatnot. Anyways, the real interesting part is I found out that they have terminated their relationship with KMC. They're no longer going to be distributed, and everybody that's involved in Marshall's U.S. operations are all terminated. So
wait, so Marshall was distributed by KMC? When did that switch?
The 2008.
I thought it was like St. Louis Music or something.
In 2008,
Or
they
US
got
Music?
taken over by. No, U.S. Music got bought by KMC a long time ago.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so U.S. Music took it over from Korg, and then KMC bought U.S. Music.
Right.
So anyway, yeah, they terminated everybody that works in the domestic operation for Marshall, and I think what's happening
So
is they're
KFC
probably going to
and
open
Korg,
their own operation and like just make a new
KM
U.S. thing.
How many people do you think got
Korg-
canned?
20.
is
something like that,
KMC
something like
not
that.
the same thing as Korg?
Korg
No,
lost the
KMC was
distributorship.
Command.
Yeah, Command. Korg lost
used
Marshall
to be owned by
distributorship like
I
2007
thought
or
it
8.
stood for Korg Music Corporation. I know who Command is. Yeah, wow, I didn't know
Yeah, it's
that.
Command Music. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know they were still around.
So
Yeah,
knowing
when it
that
got
they've
bought
got
out
all
by
this
Fender,
money
and then
behind
Fender
it-
sold them.
Yeah.
So who's
Anyway,
gonna,
I think Marshall's going to be making a play to become much bigger in the U.S.
So who's going to distribute them in the U.S.? Did they announce?
I think with all that money they have, they're probably closing out that relationship with KMC to start their own thing domestically. And so I think that's what it is. It's a big play to just enhance their margins and get bigger here.
You know, back in the day, before the JCM 800s came out, they broke with their first distributorship, which was Rose Morris, right? And they decided they were going to be their own distributor, and they came out with, that's why they switched to JCM 800. So if you bought a JMP 2203, you weren't as cool as the guy buying the JCM 800, which was the one that Marshall wanted you to buy. But I don't see how Marshall's going to generate crazy sales when they still make the same old crap. Now, if anyone at Marshall is watching and you want to come on and explain, we would more than happy to have you on the show. And if you wanted to send me a complete amp catalog to me, all your amps, so I can test them out and sell them on Craigslist, please.
Wait,
Go
this
ahead.
is a show? There's people watching this? I thought we were just chatting the five of us.
Exactly.
It's 4 now.
Yeah, Bingham. Well, somebody came into the room for Bingham. That's all. Yeah, I just don't see the. What was the last amp that Marshall came out with? The JVM. Oh no, the Origins came out after that, but that's like a low end. And then the Studios, those are all low end. Do they make any? I don't know.
So
Howie, what are you? What are you backlining? Are you backlining tomorrow night?
Bingham just drops that and leaves?
Well, no. He shut his cameras off. He's still here. His camera's off. That means somebody came in the room, probably his kid, and he doesn't want him on the.
Yeah.
Howie, you are you using a backline tomorrow night?
Yeah, when I do these fly dates with Winger, it's always backline provided.
And what do they give you for what do they give you for an amp?
We asked for the JCM 2000s, which as you know, Dave, and people who know me, I still bring an old school Line 6 pod beam and plug it into the effects return of whatever they give me. And I know people laugh at it till they hear the tone and how big it is. But for some reason, a JCM 2000, the power section of that amp sounds better than the power section of any other amp I've ever tried.
I have one right here.
It's
Look,
like
right
night and day power section.
100 watt? Actually, I get the 50 watt right here.
Yeah, no, usually 100 watts is what they give me.
Yeah.
I'm
the
told
DSL, you mean, right?
Sorry?
The DSL 100, the dual super. Yeah,
sorry.
that's a good one.
I meant to say DSL. I keep saying JCM. I mean DSL. Sorry.
No, it is a JCM 2000.
Yeah,
DSL.
just the one row of knobs.
Yeah. Yes, the old school.
The
Wait, do I have the one?
Yeah, the TSL, I think. T as in Tom.
Yeah, I get the one row. The TSL
the
stinks. Yeah, not good. I'm with you on that.
But
was Eric Johnson? Yeah, the amp is called a JCM 2000 DS Dual Super Lead 100 or Dual Super Lead 50, which is what the DSL is. It's a JCM 2000. They reissued them recently, but they're not really reissues. They're like they made the combos, the DSL 40, but the original combo, the DSL 401, was an EL84 amp, not an EL34 amp. Now they're just making everything EL34 and making it big power sections. And yeah, the UK made one. Yeah, the reissue's not the same either. Like I said, where's Marshall going to make this $3 billion?
I mean, does Marshall make software? Like, do they have their own proprietary software for amp modeling and stuff for people who don't buy tube amps? Do they make money in that world? Does anybody know?
Oh, like the import? I don't think so.
Well, just like do they have is there only a Marshall plug-in for Pro Tools, that kind of thing, that Marshall themselves make?
Oh, I wouldn't know.
No.
I wouldn't, but that's not going to make you money because so many other companies make the. I mean, shit. Even on my Fender Fuse, I have the British amp, the '80s British. It's called.
Yeah, I know that everybody. That's why.
It's like
if Marshall's even in that game at all.
Yeah, I don't know.
No. And they couldn't compete if they got in there. There's already so many.
Yeah, it's too late now.
Yeah. And the thing with Marshall is, like, I like the old Marshall amps, like, as much as I can. I mean, I don't love them. But when they came out with, like, the JVM, I always thought they should have repackaged the look of the amp instead of making it look like Grandpa's Marshall. Kind of what Mesa did. Like, Mesa had the wicker basket on the boogies, you know what I mean? It said boogie on it. And there was something very, what I call old man about it. And when because when the dual rectifier came out, here I am, a young kid going, this thing's got fucking diamond plate. It's got high gain. It sounds awesome. I want one. But, when you're trying to get kids into an amp sometimes, it's like, I understand if you're making an old Marshall reissue like a 2203 or 2204, that works. But when you're making the JVM, which I don't think is that, I don't know. I think they should have changed the whole look of that company for like a different line. Although I think the Vintage Modern is the last best Marshall amp they made, which I know a lot of people don't like that amp, but I think it's great. Oh, Ricky Compton says he wished they would reissue it. Why reissue it? People hate it, and they'll sell it to you for cheap. You can pick those up still on the cheap. Eric Johnson said Marshall's like, who, me? Nothing. Just hanging around. We love Beetlejuice on this channel. Yeah, they made it in purple Tolex or black Tolex. There's a guy selling one around here for like $800 in black. I just keep debating whether I should get it. They should have consulted Liberace. Scott Thorson, everybody. Scott Thorson, doesn't he look wonderful? Have you guys, and I'll say this again, the Michael Douglas Liberace movie, Behind the Candelabra, is absolutely gold. It's a must-watch. So John drops the news, and now there's all kinds of stories going around. Why did he disappear? All of a sudden, somebody came over with chloroform up behind him.
They heard about his 200-pound scrotum. And he had to have some.
I'll tell you what's great. I was watching Perry Mason the other day, and there's a woman, and she was like all upset. Della Street comes out of the room, and she goes, "She'll be okay, Perry. I just gave her a sedative." How come back in the 50s, that's all, every doctor, I could have been a doctor. You just show up at a house with a black leather bag, and then you give the women sedatives. Yeah, she has stage 4 cancer. She'll be fine. I gave her a sedative. Oh, thank you, doctor. Thanks for coming over here. I have a stethoscope and some sedatives. I can be in any 50s TV show as a doctor.
You got to have the little black bag.
The black bag? You
the
need
little
it?
Black bag.
Oh, yeah. Oh, she'll be fine. I gave her
That's
a sedative.
doctor. Calling Dr. Bombay. Calling Dr. Bombay.
Excellent. Dr. Bombay is excellent.
Oh, yeah.
I would have been interested if Bad for Marshall or even Gibson. Did you see the JHS not Kalon build your own pedal? No. Hey, Mickey, hi night. Dave, what do you know about the new JHS clone? I don't know anything. If that say JHS, I can't even read because they YouTube puts this heart in front of everything that comes.
Oh, isn't that annoying?
It's like I can't even read the fucking. I guess it says JHS clone. Oh, it does say JHS. Thanks, somebody. Hannah, you typed and it moved it up. I don't know anything about the clone. Is it a clone? Is that what it's supposed to be? A clone? Honestly, when it comes to pedals, I don't even care anymore about gear. You know, and it's so funny. Like when I watch like music stuff, I'm watching like other musicians and trying to rip off what they're doing. I'll tell you what's tough is you'll figure out what these sax guys are playing because, you know, a sax, the fingering's way different, but they can move around and it's like really hard to figure out how to translate that onto the guitar. So I've been doing more like that stuff. But when people sit there and talk about, oh, is this the new good? Is this $1,000 Strat as good as this $4,000 Strat? I don't know. Let me see it. I just want to smash them over the head and go, make a better video. What the fuck are we doing? Let me tell you, whatever one they want to give me, I'll take. I'll make it play good. Who cares? Yeah, but people want to justify. It's like, you know, if you can afford a $5,000 Strat and it's not a problem, go buy one. Who cares? If you can't, buy a cheaper one and set it up and make it play good. They'll play fine. Howie, what are you gigging? What are you playing tomorrow night? You Strat and Les Paul?
No, I actually have my Les Paul and a Suhr Modern with me.
Ooh, nice. Nice. And the Suhr Modern has what, a humbucker in the bridge?
Let me, I apologize for the shaky camera. I only have my cell phone with me, so I don't have any way to really mount it. I'm holding it at the same time. But if you want to talk amongst yourselves, I'll try to do a little show and tell. Hold on one second.
All right, good. We got a little Al Wilson. Show and tell.
Dave, how about this?
Yes.
12 worst albums by major classic rock artists.
Ooh. Yeah, wait till we get Howie on here because Howie loves these lists.
I found a list that you would like. I said, oh, they got actual numbers. There was songs in the 60s. The Beatles don't have the number one song according to Billboard charts.
All righty.
Hey, I gotta tell you, I picked up a book today that I'm really excited about digging into after I finished the other two books I've got ahead of it. It was just Tuesday. Geddy Lee's biography came out called My Effin' Life.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be really good.
I was reading an article about something about that. He was talking about the first time that they heard Led Zeppelin. Interesting story. They were sitting on the edge of the bed, blown away.
Yeah, but that's going to be a good read, I'm sure. Ooh, look at that.
Okay, that's a Les Paul custom.
Sorry, I'm going to do my best to be a cameraman at the same time here.
Nice.
So this is a 74 custom that I've had. I got it in 2002.
Make them full screen, Dave.
Oh, yeah, hold on. I'm blowing you up. Go ahead.
Thank you. Oh, shit. Now there's a big ding in it. What was the question? String gauge?
I didn't hear anything.
Oh, if somebody asked,
I said
we don't
full screen.
Oh, full screen. Yeah. We don't answer
gauge.
questions about string gauge.
There we go.
The strings aren't going to make a Strat sound like a Les Paul.
These are DiMarzio. They're called 36th anniversaries.
Oh, PAF.
It's a medium output humbucker. They're like they manufactured them on the 36th anniversary of the PAF. So they're like a PAF. They're not microphonic, and they're really musical. They sing really well. I like the way they're EQ'd. So
it's actually very similar to their Air Classics, but they're like a little tweaked of their version of the Air, which was a PAF clone as well.
And then, hang on one second.
That's a 74. I wonder if that has a maple neck.
Well, there's a lot of finish showing on it, so you could probably tell.
Oh, really? The finish was wearing off?
Oh,
on the back of the neck, it was beautiful.
Oh yeah. Let me ask him. Was that a maple neck on that 74?
I don't know, to be honest with you. How would I tell?
Well,
color of the
they
wood.
said the finish was coming off the back of the neck. Oh, that's
I'm not a
maple.
wood expert.
Yeah, that's maple for sure.
Did you take that to be relict?
No.
Can you imagine?
I
People
wish
probably
it
would.
wasn't as relic as it is. When I bought it, all the paint was on the neck, but I have
Yeah.
really corrosive sweat that just eats away at my guitars, which sucks. Eats them away quickly. So here's the Suhr.
Ooh,
How do
Okay,
I-
double hum.
that's nice.
Now, was that a guitar you got when you were playing with Striper?
Well, the color,
Right, black
the
and
color
yellow.
scheme is, for Striper, and that's a FU tone noiseless spring that just happened to be yellow because I wanted a light gauge spring in the back, and they turn out to be yellow. That wasn't on purpose there.
Oh, that's funny.
These are the exact same pick. I like the pickups so much that I wanted these guitars to sound the same. So I put the same 36th anniversary in this.
Okay, nice.
So
Yeah, that's a nice looking guitar.
very cool story, a quick story about this. I bought this 2021, I want to say. I got it used. You can take it off full screen now, put you guys back, unless you want to see it more. But I bought that. I found a guy. Let me go back. I subbed in with Striper because, in case somebody who's watching doesn't know, the guitar player in Striper, Osbox, is a really old friend of mine. I love him dearly, and he was diagnosed with a couple different tumors, one in his brain and one deep in his ear canal, and he was having some seizures. He had to have surgery, so Striper had stuff booked. I wound up filling in a bunch of shows with them in both 2019 and 2021. Even 2018, now that I think about it. So it's been three separate instances I did it. The first time I did it, I didn't need to have a guitar with a Floyd Rose, and all I have are Strats and that Les Paul. I borrowed a friend of mine's Suhr Modern that was, I have a friend who's very well-to-do, and he spent like $8,000 or $9,000 on this unbelievably figured green with, I can't even describe the guitar. Like, it was like a piece of artwork, and he spent a lot of money, and it had a Floyd, and he let me borrow it, and I did some flying dates with Striper, and I put a big giant ding in the front of the guitar, and I felt like, you know, a complete ass. So the next time Striper called, I was like, you know, I can't ask to borrow that again because I've already damaged it. So I needed to buy something. I knew I wanted a Suhr because they just play so great. And I bought this off a guy on Craigslist, and I got a really, really, really good deal on it. I put the pickups in and a couple other upgrades and stuff. Last year, this guitar started acting up. And what I mean is the 24th fret on the high E string, if you fretted that note, it would sound like there was a pillow on it. It was like, it wouldn't ring, it would just die. And I'm pretty good about setting up my own guitars. I tried every trick in the book, and no matter what I did, the only thing that would solve it is if you took the fine tuner on the Floyd Rose bridge and cranked it all the way tight, that would disappear. But you obviously can't live like that. You need to be able to tune the string. As soon as you backed it off even a smidgen, that dead spot would occur. So I don't know anybody at Suhr. I reached out to them just through their website, said, you don't know me, but I play with these bands, yada, yada, yada. I got an issue with a guitar, and I don't know what it is, and I've tried everything. And they said, well, you want to send it in? We'll take a look at it. I said, well, you're close to me. You're in Lake Elsinore. I'm in Los Angeles. It's like an hour and a half drive. I said, can I just bring it in person? And they said, absolutely. We'll give you a tour. And I'm like, great. I would love to see the factory. So I took it down there. They gave me the whole tour. It's a great place. They've got 100 employees. They do every single thing there. And what I mean by that is, like, the pedals are done there. The amps are done there. You know, a lot of companies, like when they have the etched nameplate on their speaker cabinets or whatever, they'll just farm those out and buy them from China. They even have an engraving machine that they do. Every single thing is done there in their plant in Lake Elsinore. It's amazing. So one of their technicians took the guitar for about an hour, and I went and had a coffee, and he goes, come back, we figured it out. Turns out the neck on this guitar somehow was twisted, and there was a hump down there that you couldn't see, but there was no way around it. So they said, listen, we want to give you a whole new bridge. You need to have the frets all pulled out. We need to plane the neck down to get rid of the hump, and then refret and put it all back together. And I was like, oh my God. They wound up doing the whole thing for me as a favor. Had the guitar for a month. They said John himself is going to do the refret. And I guess that's a big deal nowadays because he doesn't do much of the physical labor anymore, from what I understand. And now this guitar plays like a dream. They put a brand new Floyd on it, and it plays great. No fret outs, no nothing.
Nice.
So
Wow.
I'm not a Suhr endorsed artist, but I can't say enough good things about how they treated me and how that company is there. They're just fantastic.
Did they give
I
you
like
a
their
loaner?
Ombre amp. That Billy Gibbons amp they make, the Ombre.
Yeah, I haven't played through it, but I've heard it online, and it sounds great.
Yeah, they make good stuff.
Did you get a loaner while that guitar was being worked on?
No. I just, in the meantime, to be honest with you, when all that was happening, Bingham was still working at Friedman, and I went down there, and he gave me a loaner with a Floyd. It was a little different because this guitar here in front of me has 24 frets, but the Friedman has 22 frets. And I fell in love with that Friedman, and I told John, I'm not giving it back. And I kept that, so I have that at home as well. And I love that guitar.
Outstanding.
Speaking of Bingham, he's still not back.
I don't know what he's doing. He I don't know. So Joe, by the way, Howie, Joe has a list that I think you would enjoy hearing. Let's see what this list is called, because remember
one?
last time you were listening to the list.
Was this the
Albums?
12 worst albums by major classic rock artists?
Okay.
Is it encompassing? Is there a year period, or is it?
Let me bring it up and see what it says. I don't think they actually number them, though. It's one of those slideshow things. There are many shockingly bad albums, though sometimes even those at the top can get it completely wrong. A recent online musical forum shares music fans' picks for the worst albums ever released. That's all it says.
Okay. But by good bands.
By classic rock artists, yes.
Right. In other words, we're not going to, what's that girl band out of like New Hampshire? We're not going to hear from that band.
Girl School?
No, the band that did My Pal Foot.
I have no idea. Girl School.
Oh my God, it's the worst.
I don't know.
What was that?
I don't know what you're talking
Okay. Go ahead.
about. All right. Number 1, Lou Reed, Metal Machine Music from 1975.
Any Lou Reed could be in that.
I knew you'd say that.
It's awful.
Oh my God. Number
Let
2.
me tell you something. I don't care. Like, folks, if you're in my chat and you're a Lou Reed fan, pat yourself on the back. The guy sucks.
You're just naming him up, or are we supposed to try to guess?
Well, you just tell us the artist, and we'll try to guess which album, Joe.
That's a good. All right, Dave. All right.
Let me just say this about Lou Reed. The guy blows. The guy stinks. Anyone that sits there and says, what's the band he was from? The Velvet Underground. They were classic. You're a douche. That's it. Wait.
Before you continue, I think we should each go around and pick one record that we think is going to be on this list.
Okay.
I've got mine.
See. Okay, well, then you go.
I'm going to go with Van Halen 3.
Ooh.
With Sharon.
Horrible record. Horrible. Right. It is. Oh, yeah, right, because you're picking a good. That's really hard when you pick a great band that has a terrible album. Mm. So I would say, what about you, Matt? You have one in mind?
Did you say for Van Halen?
No, just a great band that has a terrible album.
Well, let's say Van Halen. That one they did with Gary Cherone sucks.
That's what he said. Van Halen 3. That's what Howie said.
I've never heard the album.
Let's see. Come back to me.
I'm trying to think of an album that every time I
got
hear
one.
a song from it, I'm sick. What do you got, Joe?
Oh, I got to go with Saint Anger from Metallica.
That's a good choice. There were actually some okay songs on it, but the production and that garbage can snare drum was just, that ruined everything.
I would say, and here's where you guys are going to laugh. I'm going to go, look, I was a Kiss fan growing up, but Kiss Destroyer sucks.
I'm going to beat the fuck out of you one day.
Full of shit, Dave.
He does that to piss me off.
No, Love Gun's better. Rock and Roll Over's better. The first 3 albums are better. Dynasty's better. I won't.
Most people are
Don't
going to
even say this. Ready for most for me?
Dynasty sort of ended their run of popularity.
Yeah.
I agree. Unmasked was terrible.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Yeah. I agree. I still don't think it's as bad as Destroyer.
Dude, God of Thunder, man, come on.
God of
terrible.
Thunder. Come on, Dave.
Great Expectations.
Okay,
Flaming Youth.
I'm not saying every song's good, but I would say there's at least 4 good
I
songs.
love every song on it.
Did you guys see
every song on it?
Did you see the girl Janie Lane was
Bobby Brown?
Yeah, she wrote a book and she was talking that Paul Stanley once asked her out and she was just like, she dismissed it because she just assumed he was gay. I saw this in an interview, and they talked about who raped Janie Lang. Have you ever seen? Did you guys hear this story?
No.
It's very disturbing.
Let's hear it.
Well, the whole point was they're trying to narrow it down, and they think it might have been Rob Halford. And my point is, Rob Halford could come up to me, and we could talk music. He could offer me all kinds of drinks. There's no way in hell the guy's raping me. I think maybe there was a little bit going along with it. And then afterwards, it was like, what have I done? That's my opinion of it.
All right. So is Destroyer your pick for this list?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, not for this list. That's just my own personal. For this list, I would say the worst album is, God,
we're just trying to, we all just, the idea is to try to guess one. That's
We Can't Dance by Genesis. I don't know if that's the name of the album. I think it is. We Can't Dance.
All right,
go on, Joe. No, that was the song. I thought the album was We.
Oh.
Okay, Joe, go on.
Okay, next one is an album by John Lennon with Yoko Ono.
All of them.
Okay, so for me, the worst John Lennon record would be Rock and Roll. Plastic Ono Band is good. Double Fantasy's good. Shaved. I'm gonna stick with mine. You guys have any guesses?
I'm sticking with all of them. I think anything.
What's the answer, Joe?
I've personally never heard of this. It's called John Lennon with Yoko Ono, Unfinished Music Number 1, Two Virgins.
Christ.
John Lennon was a douche.
Yeah.
Next on the list is my pick, Saint Anger.
Wow. Again, I think there were some okay songs on that record. It just sounded so bad. They were trying to reinvent the way the record was, records were supposed to be mixed, and the snare drum sounds like he was hitting a garbage can lid on a garbage can.
Well, that's the same with And Justice for All. There was good songs, but the production was terrible.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue that either.
Okay, the next one, I'll tell you the band. You tell me the album. It is Guns N' Roses.
The Spaghetti Incident?
Oh, nailed it.
Mm-hmm.
You nailed it.
Yeah.
That is from 1993, and I've never heard of it. So where was 93, that figures. Okay. Where is my I'm right on the same page. I don't know.
Was Spaghetti Incident a full album, or I think it was just an EP?
I thought it was an EP.
Yeah, and besides, didn't Chinese Democracy tank?
I like Chinese Democracy.
It didn't do well, but as far as what I hear it's a good record.
I love it.
Well, I've never heard it, but I just didn't hear much fanfare over it, so I didn't know.
I mean, it's got one of my favorite guitar players all over it. Buckethead.
Yeah, so I guess I got to pick it up then because I got all Buckethead stuff.
Yeah.
Coming in at number 5 is Van Halen.
3.
Yeah, you guys
Howie's
nailed
right
it.
about that. Howie nailed it.
Yeah.
Did I win the keys to the new Buick?
Exactly.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna have to do this.
All right.
Oh no, they're saying it's a full.
What was that?
They're saying it was a full album.
What's a full album?
I'm assuming Spaghetti Incident.
Oh.
Wow, that I didn't know.
Neither did I. Okay, coming in at number 6 is an album by the Rolling Stones.
Ooh. Let me think. What's their worst album?
When Howie puts on glasses, he looks like Sammy Hagar.
What?
I said when Sammy puts on glasses, he looks like Sammy Hagar.
Oh.
Sammy Hagar doesn't wear glasses.
No, Dave. It's not.
I know, but for some reason, when you put them on, you look like
I'll give you a hint. It's from the year I graduated high school.
Oh, it's the Harlem Shuffle one? What the hell was the name? A Body something. What was the name of that album?
It's not Tattoo You.
No, Body something. What was it called, Joe?
I graduated in 1986, May 31st, 1986. I went to see Ozzy Osbourne supporting Ultimate Sin with Metallica opening. Cliff was still alive, at least for another 5 months.
What Stones album was it?
I thought I was giving you another hint. Dirty Work.
Dirty Work. I couldn't remember the name of the album. I know it had one hit to the body.
Okay, I think someone may have named this one earlier. I'm not sure, but number 7 is the Genesis album.
I said I Can't Dance, but I don't think that's the name. We Can't Dance. I don't think it's the name of the record, though.
It's not. Let me see if that song's on there.
Oh, is it Illegal Alien?
No.
The one after that. Which one? No one's going to know.
It is from 1997, Calling All Stations.
Yeah. I don't even know if that counts.
Why?
Because it was like they came back together to make the record and nobody knew. I don't think anyone knew it existed.
All right. Next on our list is an album by Iron Maiden.
Is it the one with Blaze Bayley singing?
For me, it would be the first one.
No, that's Paul Diano.
I know, but Iron Maiden. I'm not a fan of the first Iron Maiden record.
I'm coming over. I'm going to wear an Iron Maiden shirt on one hand and Kiss Destroyer on the other. I'm going to just work you over. But Howie nailed it because the first sentence is Blaze Bayley really was terrible. So, yeah, Virtual 11.
I couldn't remember the name of the album.
All right, the next album on the list is by a band called Pink Floyd. By the way, which one is Pink?
Wow, Pink Floyd. It can't be the final cut. That's the best. Let me say.
Is it the Division Bell?
No.
No, it has to be either an early one with Sid because he sucks.
Yeah, but the whole idea of this list was not the early ones where every band sucked at the beginning, more or less. It was they got big, they had great records, and then they released something that was terrible.
Well, Division Bell, Momentary Lapse is good. Final Cut's good. I would say Ummagumma.
Ummagumma? No.
Yeah.
It's the one you keep saying it can't be.
If it's the Final Cut, this list is for fools.
It's the Final Cut.
Where is this
list? Awesome.
Where is this list from? The internet?
It's just from the internet. So at its best, Pink Floyd's disastrous album has mixed reviews from the band's dedicated army of worshippers, though even they must realize the band was having issues. That's because it was pretty much Waters' album. Gilmour wasn't even given a producer credit, writes a knowledgeable commentator. The band fought like cats and dogs while recording, with Waters and Gilmour pretty much doing everything separately.
And yet it's still a better album than The Wall.
Right. The next is an album by David Bowie.
See, this because he had so many like Heathens and so many weird records out.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say he released so many records that most of us probably don't even know about.
Yeah, my guess is going to be Heathens. I don't know.
No, it's Never Let Me Down from 1987.
Never Let Me Down was that bad. That's not a bad record.
Well, it says Bowie's Never Let Me Down is his low point. It's not unlistenable, but when it stands among his other works, it would regard it as a bomb. Remember, these are just fans picking shit.
Yeah, but that's because it came out after the two big ones with the Serious Moonlight album. What was that one called?
Listen, the next one on this list is one of my favorite albums and soundtracks. So, I gave it away. Fuck. Okay, the next album is by a band called Queen.
Flash Gordon.
Flash fucking Gordon.
They're out of their fucking minds. How can you say Flash Gordon's worse than Hot Space?
Gordon's alive.
Clytus on board.
Were there? I don't remember. I mean, I remember seeing the movie and all the Queen music in it, but were there the Flash Gordon soundtrack? Were there any other artists on that, or was it 100%?
No, that was
all Queen.
Okay, that I didn't realize.
Yeah. Yeah. They had like 3 or 4 songs, and then they wrote all the incidental music.
The next, well, it's not a band, but the next album is by Chris Cornell.
How many albums did he have that you would call one bad? No idea. Somebody said Chris Cornell earlier.
I don't know.
It's named. There's a horror movie franchise by the same name.
Friday the 13th.
Scream. I had never heard of it.
I don't know it.
Okay.
What was it?
Scream.
Oh, Scream.
Oh, I think that was the end of the list because it's done. So I thought it's 12. Yeah, that was number 12. Okay. That's the end of that list.
How the hell do they say? I mean, honestly, Flash Gordon was great compared to Hot Space. Hot Space has Flash Gordon. 3 songs on it that are decent. The rest of the record is unbearable. And the 3 songs on Hot Space really don't sound like Queen songs. You know what I mean? They didn't really sound like Queen on that album. It's like a dancey album with "You're a Cool Cat."
20 underrated 1970s bands.
There you go.
You want that?
Yeah. We'll pull it out.
All right. Let me start this one. Okay. 20 underrated 70s bands during the 70s. Various musical genres and styles converged in the mainstream, for better or worse. And during the decade, there were certainly special musical moments that either flew under the radar, were overshadowed, or weren't appreciated. Here are 20 underrated bands and artists from the 70s.
I don't want to crap on something like this, but I don't ever understand the word underrated or overrated, because the people who do like these bands don't underrate them. So
yeah,
right.
It's such a subjective. I'm not trying to be a jerk, but it's so subjective to use that word.
But
I think they mean underappreciated because they didn't sell shit.
I would look at it this way: not enough people appreciate it, or too many people appreciate it, and they don't deserve it.
Along the same lines, Dave, you and I got in an argument once. I don't know if you remember. You consider, this is what you said, if you recall this, you consider Ronnie James Dio's solo career to be a failure.
Yes.
Dave.
Do you remember that argument?
Dave,
I don't remember the argument, but I agree with it. I think he had one album, The Holy Diver, that did fantastic. I thought The Last in Line was not as good. And then after that,
you had a general
Dream Evil is fucking awesome.
Your general statement was that compared to Rainbow and Black Sabbath, his solo career overall was a failure. We went around about this.
I agree. I don't remember saying that, but I'll say this: whoever said that was a genius. I agree with that statement because I don't think that his career. It would almost be like
Okay, but how do you like? I can look at it this way: even if he didn't sell as many albums as somebody else, he was touring every year. He was constantly releasing albums, even through musical landscape changes like the grunge era and the crap, the horrendous late '90s.
Okay, let me say this.
I don't think the quality of the songs.
Wait a minute. Let me just
quality of the songs wasn't as good though.
But that's again that's subjective as well. That's a pit. You might say that, somebody else might disagree, but he was making a living.
Yes.
Bills off his name alone. To me,
now let me just say this.
That was my argument to you.
And my argument's this: Alanis Morissette released her second album, and it sold 2 million copies out the gate. And the record company said that is a failure. And Dio's never sold 2 million out the gate. My point I'm making is it's all relative. But what happened was Dio came out of the gate out of Sabbath. First of all, Black Sabbath, Heaven and Hell, and Mob Rules are unfucking believable. Holy Diver was a very good album and a great effort. And I thought unfortunately, I thought it became a little cliche on Last in Line. And then after that,
I think Last in Line is far and above his best record ever.
It could be. It could be. You could be right. What I'm saying is after that, though, the fan base, if you look at the album sales and what he did, yes, he made a career and a living, but I was saying compared to what he was doing where he was on the upswing in those other bands, like his, I shouldn't say Long Live Rock and Roll is his best because I think Rainbow Rising might be a better record, but Rainbow was very good. Black Sabbath was like doing unbelievable. And then he went on a trajectory, what I think that was down. I do. I mean, but it doesn't mean I don't love the guy. I love the guy's stuff. I just think that it's like.
You know what? It's a great album. A lot of people forget to add in with the Black Sabbath. Dehumanizer is amazing.
It's a good record. Yeah.
But Rainbow was basically, Richie Blackmore was fresh out of Deep Purple, so there was a huge fan base coming in right away. And with Black Sabbath, that was a band that had been established for
But completely different sounds. When Dio's in Sabbath, that's the best Sabbath ever sounded, in my opinion. And they were great songs. And to say Dio with Richie was much better than Deep Purple, in my opinion.
Once he went into his solo career, he's kind of starting. He wasn't. You can't go from Black Sabbath and maintain that a brand that had been established for 8 or 9 years already. So I don't think his solo career was a failure at all. I think.
I wouldn't say it was a failure, but after that first album, it was. It was like it. How many records name the records that came out after Last in Line?
Last in Line. The next one was Sacred Heart.
Okay. Anyone know any songs on Sacred Heart, Matt?
I do.
Okay. Yeah. What's after Sacred Heart?
Oh, sorry. That's when Vivian Campbell left. They did an EP called Intermission that had some live stuff on it and one new song. And then the next record was Dream Evil with Craig Goldie.
Right, Craig Goldie from Jafria. And I thought that's a song that went, well, who dream evil? I believe we can make it through That was Gary Wright.
That was Gary.
All right,
Wright.
Yeah. So I have no idea. Like I'm saying, I love and I love Last in Line. I just don't think it had.
Hello.
Speaking of a big Dio fan, here comes Bingham.
Sorry.
So, John, we thought that after you made your announcement about Marshall, somebody from Marshall came over and chloroformed you.
I know, right?
You a way to deprogram you.
So I was.
You had to go wash his scrotum.
Believe it or not, I actually had to have a conversation with a guy who you know. An Englishman.
How he knows?
Yeah, an Englishman named Chris Green.
I love Chris.
Yeah, I had to have a conversation with him.
He's a sweetheart.
He does
really
amp.
Nice guy.
Yeah, he does amp demos for this company out of Atlanta called Incognito Guitars. And Keith, the guy that owns Incognito Guitars, is having Chris do a demo of one of our products. So
that's awesome.
So yeah, I just had to have a conversation with him.
You should have
And
invited
what is
him
your
in.
favorite Dio album?
Who? Me?
You.
Does this include Black Sabbath records?
No,
Or
just his
Rainbow
solo
records?
band.
No, solo band.
Just solo? Hold on a second. I'm trying to remember the track listing between Holy Diver and Last in Line.
Well, you know he had 6 other albums.
Yeah, but none of them matter.
Thank you. That's my point.
Okay, John,
As long as
let
it's
me,
okay.
John, wait.
That's
I'm
fine.
just going to ask you a question. You got to answer with one word. Either a yes or a no.
Sure.
Do you feel overall, Ronnie James Dio's solo career after Black Sabbath, do you feel it was a success? Or a failure?
Yeah. Oh,
You
success.
can
Yes.
say success or failure.
Success. I'll
Right,
tell
I
you why.
disagree. That's all.
That's okay. I'll tell you why I think it's a success. Because he made 2 records that mattered solo, and he continued to tour off those records and make money for years. Let's
That's what
take
Howie
It's
said.
Howie's argument.
and here's my argument that I'm going to characterize with another band that's very successful at that. This band only had 1 record that mattered, and frankly, I hate it. But they've been the biggest damn band in the world ever since. Guns N' Roses only had 1 record that really anybody gives a shit about.
Yeah.
And here they are 40 years later, and people still talk about it. I'd say it's a success.
Oh, hell, on that argument, let's say, I don't know, Gary Wright had 1 song that people know, and you're still bringing
2.
him up.
He had 2.
Who's
He had 2
bringing
on the
up
same
Gary
album. He
Wright?
did. Our love is alive. My
Not nearly as
heart
big
is
as
a
Dreamweaver,
weaver.
though.
What is it?
But why-
Oh, it's on the same record.
Yeah, but
but
it wasn't as big of a single.
Bumped. Ban it.
I know the story.
Ban it. All right, go on with the list, Joe. What was your,
All right.
let's hear this. So we have a
This
new
is-
list, John. You're brand fresh for this.
Oh,
This
by the way,
list-
I think Caught in the Middle is an absolutely amazing song. So I'll just say Holy Diver's my choice.
Oh,
I knew it
and
was
one
gonna be
last
Holy
thing I
Diver.
want to bring up. Sorry, I'll just bring this up quickly. And Dave, I messaged you about this the other day. John, you'll be interested. Somehow I was going down a YouTube rabbit hole the other day, and some Dio stuff was suggested, popped up. Apparently last year, they took Holy Diver and some guy who I'd never heard of remixed it. And they put out like a 4 CD thing. It's like this guy's remix. Then it also had just the regular Holy Diver mix, but remastered again because it's already been remastered. Then there was a live disc, and then a 4th disc of outtakes or whatever. But I went on YouTube and I listened to this guy's remix. Absolutely brilliant. I normally am like old school. No, I just want to hear the original mix. I don't want to hear some updated thing. I don't think I'm ever going to listen to the original mix of this record again after hearing this mix. It's absolutely amazing. If you get a chance, check it out.
Did he just modernize it?
Yes, and it sounds so good.
Oh, neat.
Well,
that's a
did they
that's a
bring
good
up
tip.
the solos a little bit? Because that was one of my complaints on.
Yes, let me.
Mix.
Can you guys still see me?
No,
No.
Okay, hold on. This is the only way I can look something up.
because
Are you gonna send the link?
A lot of the guitar
I'm just
solos
gonna
on
look
those
up the.
early Dio albums. Got
Is it the
buried.
Joe Barresi remix?
Yes, that's it. I could.
Oh, I know who he is.
Guy's
He's
name.
always this guy's always like in advertisements for like Universal Audio plugins and stuff. They'll be like, oh, it's the Joe Barresi pack. So he must be known in that community.
I thought it was the Joe Besser mix.
Unbelievable.
Who?
Clarity.
Joe
the
Mama
drums
Besser.
sound way better. The
I knew you
guitars
know
are
who he is, Joe.
super punchy.
Okay.
What'd you say,
I'm gonna
Dave?
check it out. I haven't had a
That's
chance
what I
to
wanted
check
to
it
bring
out.
Joe Mama
Oh,
Bess is
Since
a
we were
fucking
talking
hero
about
of
Dio,
mine.
I just wanted to bring that up.
So they
Hey,
did
by the
bring
way,
up, they did
Healthy
bring up the
Singer
solos
wants
on
to
it.
know, Howie. Heaven and Hell or Mob Rules?
Oh, like a choice for me?
Yeah,
Heaven and Hell for sure.
me too. Bingham?
Well, before I answer, I'd like to congratulate Howie on his squash trophy.
What?
What did you win? You won some divisional match or something? In
Me
squash,
and my,
right?
I played in a doubles tournament last weekend, and me and my partner won the men's Division B championship. And
Oh, that's
the
hilarious.
Southern California Open men's double squash championship. Way to bring the whole vibe down, John.
Why is that down? It's good.
I didn't even know they had squash at Roman Holiday. All right, Matt, what do you like?
You know, I'm going to have to go against you guys and say Mob Rules just because.
I knew you were, but that's fine.
I saw that tour, so it kind of.
Joe, what about you? Chose a Mob Rules guy too.
You're asking me. You know where I am on that one.
He's a Mob Rules guy.
I
All right, let's hear this.
I think Dehumanizer.
I'm going to go with Heaven and Hell myself.
I saw the Dehumanizer tour.
Yeah.
Dehumanize yourself. That one?
Ooh, great one. Police on Ghost in the Machine.
Oh, that's the Police. Sorry, my bad.
All right, Joe, go ahead.
All right, these are 20 underrated or underappreciated bands from the 70s. Now, there's no numbers here, so they're just, giving in bands. First one they bring up is April Wine.
Great band.
I don't underappreciate them.
Nature of the Beast.
Could have Been a Lady was a fucking great tune.
High Roller.
They're awesome.
That
Nature of the Beast was a fantastic album.
I play sometimes with an unsigned original band in LA called The Hard Way. John's seen us before, and we are scheduled to open for April Wine at the Whiskey. I think it's February or March of next year.
Nice.
That's cool. I think they should open for you.
Well, they're closing for us.
That's better.
There you go. Right. All right, what's next? April Wine. Yeah, I wouldn't call them underrated.
Everybody to.
Okay, next on the list is Badfinger.
Yeah, well, if two of the guys didn't hang themselves.
Jeez, is that true?
Yeah.
No, I think just one of them did.
No, two of them.
Oh, two of them?
Yeah, Pete Ham, and what was the other?
Vocalist Pete Ham took his own life in 1975, as did guitarist bassist Tom Evans in 1983.
Yeah.
The drummer died of brain aneurysm, leaving just Joey Molland as the only surviving member. Gee, fuck that.
Yikes.
Next band.
They also wrote the song Without You that Harry Nilsson had a huge hit with, and then Mariah Carey did. I can't live. That was a Badfinger tune.
The story about this next band that's often told is Kiss opened up for this band, and a year later, this band was opening for Kiss.
New York Dolls.
Come on, Blue Oyster Cult. Gene Simmons always he never stops without mentioning that.
Huh.
Geez, with songs like Dominance, Submission, I can't imagine why.
What the hell's the name of that Blue Oyster Cult record?
Sorry,
that
Howie.
Awful. I talked about it.
What is it?
Or two ago. I don't remember the name of that album from Blue Oyster Cult. I think is terrible. My buddy Craig was like, "Oh, it's the best." You remember Craig?
Yeah, the one with Shooting Shark, or I liked a lot of their stuff. I just think I can't help but laugh when I hear Joan Crawford has risen from the grave. Like when I hear Joan Crawford or Dominant Submission.
I'm talking about
check out the album
Fire of an Unknown Origin.
Oh, that had a great tune
I love
on
that
it.
album.
Yeah. Check out
Now a veteran of 1,000 psychic wars.
check out Club Ninja. Club Ninja is a good album.
I saw them just like 2 years ago opening for Cheap Trick and down in Irvine. They were or at the Orange County Fair. I mean, they were fantastic.
Back in the day, Cheap Trick used to open for them. And now, that's the Kiss story.
That's the Kiss story.
That's funny.
Next on the list is a band named Budgie.
Oh, heard of that.
Oh, yeah.
The one Metallica keeps ripping off and doing all that shit.
One of them.
Aren't they Canadian?
No, it says this Welsh power trio was part of the famed new wave of British heavy metal. They put out 7 studio albums from 71 to 78, and while Budgie had its moments of notoriety during the 70s, especially in Europe, it arguably drew its most attention during the 80s as a major influence on Metallica.
Well, here's a clue. Don't name your band after a parakeet.
Right. And also, didn't the Kinks write a song about them? I'm on a low budgie. What did you say?
my
It's
God.
terrible joke.
So bad.
Yikes.
According
I
to
thought you said
Wikipedia, Budgie has had, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16 different members. So
Damn.
Hey,
apparently
wait. We didn't do the thing we're supposed to do, I guess. Before you continue on the list, we each have to let's pick one. Let's try to each guess one band that's on this list before we go through it.
Band from the 70s that's unsung.
Well, I've looked at the whole list earlier today.
Yeah, you can't
Okay,
do
so
it,
you
yeah.
can't guess, but everybody else can guess.
I would have said Cheap Trick, but let me see here. I'm going to say
I don't think they
Big
were
Star.
underrated.
I'm going to go with Big Star.
All right, somebody write that down. Who's next?
I'm going to say Riggs.
Let me think.
He says
here.
Riggs, which we love in the heavy metal soundtrack.
I'm gonna go with Triumph.
Oh, I
Okay.
love Triumph. Yeah.
I think
gonna
there's
guess-
going to be a whole bunch of Canadian bands on this list.
I'm gonna guess that
Max
Sweet.
Webster band.
I'm gonna guess Sweet is on this list.
All right. Bingham guesses
Good guess.
Sweet.
That's a good
Let's
guess.
moving on.
All right,
Joe?
Okay. The next band on the list is I've never heard of them. Dead Boys.
aren't they a punk band?
I think the way they look, they do look like a punk band.
Yeah.
Sounds like it. Yeah, from Cleveland, Ohio.
They had 2 studio albums, and that's it. They were a punk band and whatever.
How are you supposed to appreciate them and overrate them if they've only had 2 albums?
Right.
Right.
Next on the list is the Guess Who.
I don't know. You tell us. Thank you.
Hey-oh.
I don't know that they're underrated. They had a ton of huge hits.
They're the
Yeah,
ones that
that's
did
funny.
what?
It's in the-
American Woman and These Eyes and yeah. How is that underrated? It
Time.
seems like
Yeah.
No,
Their songs
Hand-Me-Down
are
World.
literally on the radio every single day still.
Right. And if anyone
Yeah.
wants to say that they're underrated, I say listen to Clap for the Wolfman. You will find out they are not underrated. That song's horrible.
Next band on the list is Hawkwind.
Oh my
That's
God.
not,
I like the
Brilliant.
Lemmy was the bass player for a while.
Yeah. yeah.
I like the name. That's cool.
A buddy of mine, I had this hippie friend back when I was a kid. He was older than me. I met him because I had a paper route, and he was one of my newspaper customers. He was the guy that like, hey kid, come on in and let's get you high and give you your first Deep Purple record and yada yada yada. He made me a tape with some Hawkwind songs on it. There was a song called Oregon Accumulator.
Why is it these obscure British bands always sound like the guy who named the band smokes a pipe? You're going to be called Hawkwind, and you will be Wishbone Ash. It's like, what? This guy's smoking a giant church warden in a fucking Gandalf outfit. Guy leaves, and he's like, wait a second, wasn't that Edgar Winter? All right.
Okay, the next band on the list is that's an advert. The Ides of March.
Oh, vehicle.
Yeah, well, that was
I'm your vehicle, baby.
Yeah, and they had what's his face was the singer there, Jim Pederick
Yeah,
Yeah.
they mentioned
I think
him.
it's pronounced Jim
from
Pederack.
Survivor.
No.
I'm a friend, the stranger in the black sedan, and won't you hop inside my
I love
car?
that tune. I did
Oh,
a
it's
cover- I
fantastic.
recorded a cover of that.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, I mean, Pederick went on to not only write Survivor's hits, he also wrote
What?
38 Specials big hits.
Yeah.
He was great.
Jim
Oh,
Pederack.
I like D-Bob Deluxe. Go ahead, Joe.
Next band
That'll
on
be
the
me.
list is Little Feat.
No. Overrated.
Eh.
Overrated. In fact, I'll say this. Time Loves a Hero. Maybe once every 4 years I can hear that song. Other than that, I don't want to hear any Little Feet.
I think they're properly rated. They're just kind of eh.
Well, people love them, which I don't get.
Well, but you could say that about any Well, they're underrated, yeah, but the people who like them like them.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
Next band on the list is Montrose.
Is Montrose underrated?
I don't think they're
To
underrated,
me,
but they were good.
The first album is brilliant. It's just brilliant. Every song is killer, and then after that, I didn't like any of it.
Which album has "I Got the Fire"? First
I
or
don't know.
second?
Paper Money.
It's got to be the second one, Paper Money. Then, yeah.
That was a good tune. Yeah, that was a decent record.
All right. Next on the list is Nazareth.
Really, Scottish band Nazareth.
Now you're messing with a son of a bitch.
I think that album's fantastic. I don't know
really
much of. I mean,
underrated?
I do. But Holiday, it was a holiday. Mama, please. I like them. I don't think they're underrated.
It feels like Love Hurts has been on the radio at least a billion times.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
huge hit.
That's an old cover, though. That's a what's it called? The Everly Brothers song.
Yeah, that makes sense. Actually sounds like the Everly Brothers now that you say that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, old Everly. In fact, they did it because Emmylou Harris did a cover with Graham Parsons in '71 of Love Hurts from the Everly Brothers, and they heard their duo, and that's when they decided they were going to do it. And a little trivia, Manny Charlton, the guitar player for Nazareth, was the one that Guns N' Roses really wanted to produce their first album. And he worked with them a little bit, but he couldn't do it. And then they ended up getting whoever the guy that did it.
Mike Klink.
Hugh in the chat says he's related to Jerry McCafferty. I like Please Don't Judas Me.
I got
Go
a
on,
great
Joe.
idea
I think Beaver Brown is.
Great idea for your next show for a list that you could compile is songs that you didn't realize were cover songs.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
I have a list like that. We'll save that for another time.
Yeah, save it. Definitely save that.
Next band on the list is Off Broadway. Never heard of them.
George Benson?
Yeah, that's all.
Oh, that was on Broadway. Sorry.
Yeah, they don't even mention anyone in this band. Next band on the list is Poco. P-O-C-O.
Yeah, but there were so many iterations of the band. I do love the Legend era, 1978 with Rusty Young, and the other guy.
I mean, I have a few of their older records that, you know, when Timothy D. Schmidt was still in the band, and I don't know, there was no really great songs there. So I
do like the album, the song in Settling Down. You know that song? That was when Schmidt was in the band. That's a great song. But other than that, I mean, they're 5 albums, 1 song. It's like, I don't think, I call Poco the Eagles Farm League.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Because they got Randy Meisner from him first, and then they took Timothy B. Schmidt.
Right, and then I think Meisner went back down to the minors, didn't he? Didn't he go back?
I think he quit. He quit the other band. I think he did solo work after that.
Hey, is Bingham asleep?
No, Bingham's not asleep.
Reading his phone.
Yeah. You guys are talking about Poco. I'm going to wait till that's over with.
Go ahead.
All right. Next band on the list is REO Speedwagon.
Oh, God. That's underrated?
Really? They
way.
were overrated.
Overrated. I agree with
Overrated.
Fable for sure.
Yes.
Horrendous.
Way.
Okay. Rose Royce. Never heard of them.
Love
Car
him.
wash.
Love him.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Rose Royce. Okay.
I think Norman Whitfield wrote all those songs on that album. I think that was the guy's name, wasn't it?
Car wash, yeah.
I Want to Get Next to You, Wishing on a Star. Howie, I want you to go back to that prom date when you were listening to I'm wishing on a star. Wow, 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 wow.
I'm gonna burst your bubble right here, Dave. I did not go to my prom.
Nor did
Oh,
I.
come on. You knew that song was played at every slow dance. I'm wishing on a star. Wow, 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 wow. Guitar wah pedal. It was great. If you don't know the movie Car Wash, folks, I really suggest you watch it with a nice young Bill Duke in there.
Oh, I forgot about that movie. That movie was great.
Darrow Igus. It's great. All right, Joe, go on.
Next on the list is the Runaways.
No.
I think
No.
they're overrated, not underrated.
Cherry Bomb, and that's about it.
Yeah.
And the next, I don't know how they're not. Oh, okay. Next on the list, the
Agreed
Sweet.
you.
I think
John Bingham
called
gets
that.
it.
Yeah, Bingham called that one.
We
The
got a
Sweet.
winner.
What do I win?
The keys to a 1981 LeBaron.
Or a Marshall.
Or a Volkswagen Scirocco.
Ooh.
You guys ever watch Classic Concentration on the Game Show Network with Alex Trebek? They go to give a car away. I'm like, give away the mechanic with it, because that thing's going to be in the shop. There's nothing but clunkers on that show. It's great.
That's funny. So I don't know if
Sweet is awesome.
I don't know if they were actually underrated. As far as I know, they have one record that's really good. I don't know any.
No, Love Is Like Oxygen's a great tune.
Yeah, and that's
Fox on the Run.
What's
Fox on the Run.
Big records. What Desolation Boulevard with
Yeah.
Yeah, that was 76. Yeah, with Fox on the Run and
Ballroom Blitz.
No. Ballroom Blitz is earlier.
Boulevard
Boulevard
has
has,
Desolation Boulevard.
it is?
It's on the same record from what I remember.
I thought that Ballroom Blitz was. What's the one that was earlier? Is Action on that album too?
Ballroom Blitz.
Let's call off the name of that. Let's hear the name of the songs on that album.
We need a track listing. I'm looking for one right now. It's Ballroom Blitz.
By the way, the guitar player, what's his name? Andy. The wig he wore was ridiculous.
Andy Dufresne.
And I'm going to go on record as saying I like Crocus's cover of Ballroom Blitz as much as I like the original.
It's better.
Okay, so the track
that
listing.
same album, I love Our Love. Our love will never die. I love Crocus.
No, that was the following record.
No, that was the first song on the record. It was on. It was
Midnight
called
Maniac?
the Midnight Maniac. Yeah.
I thought Our Love was the next record.
No, that's on Midnight Maniac for sure. Because I only had Midnight Maniac in earlier. I never got anything after. John, go ahead. What are the songs on this record?
Track listing on Desolation Boulevard, at least released in the United States. I'm going to go with the Capitol Records release. Ballroom Blitz.
It's going to be wrong.
The 16s. No You Don't. AC/DC. I Want to Be Committed. Sweet FA. Fox on the Run.
Sweet. Yeah.
Set Me Free. Into the Night. Solid Gold Brass.
I knew Ballroom Blitz was on that.
Now let me hear what the actual pressing was.
The RCA release would be the 16s, Solid Gold Brass, Turn It Down, Medusa, Lady Starlight, Man with the Golden Arm, Fox on the Run, Breakdown My Generation.
Okay. See, because I think Ballroom Blitz was a single that came out before the album, and then they just put it on the album when they released it in the States.
Maybe. What were you doing in the UK listening to the Sweet pre-1975?
I was very big into the gay scene back then.
I'm like, what? How you know that and why that is relevant to you is so strange to me, because it seems like
when I was a little kid, I loved the Sweet.
You would have been 5 years old, and
no, Desolation Boulevard. What year is that?
The U.S. release was 75.
Yeah, it was 7.
Right, but I'm saying it's 73 when they released the single of Ballroom Blitz. You would have been 5.
Yeah,
that's
totally.
So.
And just to Howie's point, who was better, the Bay City Rollers or the Sweet?
There's no contest, dude.
What does the Bay City Rollers have to do with it?
They suck.
They were another UK band that was huge back when I was a little kid. Like, when I was a little kid, Little Willie was a huge. Would you guys remember Little Willie? Little Willie, Willie won't huge, and so was songs like SATY.
Did you and Howie already? You and Howie already have an in-depth conversation on Mitch Ryder?
No,
big Mitch Ryder guy.
Who is Howie?
I was joking.
Okay, no one, because I was going to say nobody is. Go ahead, Joe.
All right. Next on the list is a band called Silvers, The Silvers. They were from Watts.
I love the Silvers.
Family.
So the Silvers did, they did the song Hotline, Hotline, calling on the hotline for your love. And the guy who was in the band, the oldest brother, he ended up producing all kinds of huge records. Leon Silvers. But what was their other big hit? They had another song besides Hotline. I took my baby to the pizza parlor. Is that Hotline? What was their hits, Joe?
I don't know.
It doesn't say in the biopsy, the bio. Biopsy. Get in there.
Let me go back.
They had Hotline.
Hotline, High School Dance, Boogie Fever.
Boogie Fever, that's the one. Boogie Fever.
That's a great song.
Great song. I took my baby to the pizza parlor. That was the song. I got the Boogie Fever. Yeah, Leon Silvers, like I said, he took off and had a huge career. What else?
The next band is a band that you constantly say had timing issues. You want to guess?
UFO?
UFO.
I'm going to agree with
Wow.
This is the first one I agree with. I think they are very underrated. The only problem that I see with UFO is they didn't have one giant over-the-top hit song. Like, Lights Out's great, Doctor's great, but they just weren't like...
I will say I think every song on Obsession is better than Doctor and Lights Out. On the album Lights Out, I think Getting Ready's the best song on that album.
I love the song Lights Out. I think it's brilliant.
That Lights Out in London.
You know what I hate about it, don't you? It's the verse. That's a melody? What the hell is going on? It's like
he doesn't have a huge vocal range. He never did, so he can only do what he can do. I mean, a lot of his verses were very monotone. That's sort of my issue with that band, that it's like very monotone thing.
He broke that, I felt, on Obsession with like, I ain't no baby, but get out of my way. I think that's a great tune. I think Cherry's a great song. Only You Can Rock Me is a great tune.
That's a great song, yeah.
I think Obsession is I think that's underrated.
My favorite UFO tune, well, besides Lights Out, is probably Out in the Streets. I think that's a brilliant song, too.
You know what else is good is a later song called The Writer.
Who was the guitar player? Is that in the Atomic Tommy days, or is that what the other guy, Paul?
It's on the one that, I think it's the album with the wrench on the cover.
Mechanics? Yeah, that's Paul Chapman, I think, is the guitar
player on
that.
Whatever happened to that guy, Atomic Tommy McKinnon?
We got one more left on the list.
Go ahead.
I'm going to tell it, and then I'm going to go put Michael to bed.
Alfie, I think it's called Let It Roll, isn't it? Or is it Let It Go?
Let It Roll.
Okay.
Let It Roll.
Anyone want to guess at what the last band on the list is?
I'm still going with Big...
I'm going to change my... Because even though I said Triumph, and their first record came out in the late 70s, but they were considered more of an 80s band. I'm going to switch mine. Now that you said UFO, I'm going to go with Thin Lizzy.
Ooh. Mm-hmm. I'll stick with my Big Star.
And I would like to add an addendum about Triumph. I think Thunder 7 is one of the most perfect albums ever.
It's brilliant.
From beginning to fucking end. Dave, don't argue.
I do think that opening song is what's the song when he goes when he's doing Can't Find My Way Back Home? Come down on your run and leave out down
I
and
don't
down.
know.
Is it called Cool Shake?
you gotta-
Cool something? Cool down? Cool
You gotta
down.
you gotta have a certain set of vocal cords to hit those fucking notes, and I ain't got that set. I'm like a cave troll. You know?
Let me just tell you this. I got something on my mind. I want you to know. Rock troops are on the move. It's starting to show. Let me tell you, if the Triumph fans were all part of some army of rock troops, I would just tell any army, just get up before noon and you'll beat them. These guys are going to be sleeping till about 1 a.m.
That's really funny.
Get up at 7 a.m. You can't lose this war.
Is
The
it
rock
Thin
troops
Lizzy?
are-
Did I win?
Let's see. What's the answer, Joe?
The answer is the last band is actually Wishbone Ash.
Oh, he just said it a minute ago.
Yeah, the guy with the pipe, right?
Yeah, he created that name.
Oh, you did.
You guys are going to be called Wishbone Ash, and you'll be Hawkwind.
Top
You'll
20
be-
bands named by a man smoking a pipe.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'll be right back. I got to put Michael to bed.
Well, you know what it is, and I'm not trying to. It's meant to be an insult, but it doesn't sound like one. These British people like to read books.
What the hell are those?
Exactly.
Somebody in the chat just asked, "How is Thin Lizzy under?" Did I lose you guys?
No,
Oh,
we're here. It's Joe.
okay,
Joe
sorry.
went to go help his.
Somebody just asked, "How is Thin Lizzy underrated?" They're a great band. They're an amazingly great band. However, they're not really. When people come into discussions of the Deep Purples and Black Sabbaths and Led Zeppelins and Queens and AC/DCs of the world, Thin Lizzy is like they're not thought of in those terms. They're kind of like the perennial opening band, which they should not have been.
And they always get
That's
the same.
how they're underrated.
They always get the same diss, which is everyone just talks about Jailbreak.
Right.
And there's so many great records they have. I mean,
And Dave, and I love your old point. It's tonight. There's going to be a jailbreak somewhere in this town. What do you mean somewhere in this town? It's going to be at the jail.
try the jail. Here's a. Oh yeah.
Hey,
I don't think it's going to be at the
came up
school.
with that.
But what is it?
Didn't I tell you that a long time
No,
ago?
I stole it from a comedian years ago. What you told me, Matt, and I always give you credit for this, is in the beginning of Flash Gordon the movie, Ming is asking what Earth is. And in the beginning, there's a button that says earthquake. Well, Ming, you see this button you had us manufacture that says earthquake? It's the planet Earth that's going to shake when you hit that fucking button.
That's funny.
That was you, Matt, telling me that outside of the fucking circle bar. I was pissing myself. But let me say this. What's the album after that? Is it Johnny the Fox?
After Jailbreak?
Yeah.
I don't know the
Bad Reputation, wasn't it?
Order.
No. I think it's Johnny the
Fox is older, isn't it?
No. The album. I think Johnny the Fox, Jimmy the Weed is the album. John, hope you're looking that up because
I'm looking it up, of course. Yeah. So
Johnny the Fox, Jimmy the Weed
was released on October 16th of 1976, and Jailbreak was released in March of 76. So there you go.
Yeah, it's the album that came out right after, which I think is a fantastic album, if not better than Jailbreak as an album.
I actually don't know that record that well. I've listened to it like once. Bad Reputation, which is the one following that, is an awesome record.
Bad Reputation is easily their greatest tune. The song is so kick-ass. The drumming on it's fantastic. The guitar playing, the singing. That song is a tour de force.
But of course, I like the Gary, Black Rose with Gary Moore and Thunder.
Fantastic.
But
dude.
The record and title track I love is Chinatown with Snowy White playing guitar.
Yeah, Chinatown's really good too. I'm really, really into Black Rose though. I think Howie, you might have been the one that was like, you gotta listen to that.
No, that's an awesome album.
Yeah, it's really
Black
really
Rose.
good.
Isn't there an album between Black Rose and
S&M,
Johnny the
which is
Fox?
the dumbest song ever.
Is there an album between Johnny the Fox and Black Rose, or is that the one that's next?
Yeah, Johnny the Fox, then Bad Reputation.
Bad Reputation. Yeah, I like Bad Reputation a lot. Like I said, and I think it's the
I
best
do
tune
too.
they ever had.
It's a great song.
Do you
Oh,
guys listen
so
to anything pre-jailbreak? Because I know there's like the Vagabonds of the Western World.
The
I don't
album
know that
before, right
record at
before it
all.
is good. It begins with
What
an
is it?
F, right? The album before it.
Nightlife.
Oh, Nightlife.
They have a bunch of stuff that I don't really know all that well. The early stuff, like Fighting. I listened to Fighting once, and I don't think it caught my attention, so I didn't really pay
Yeah.
attention.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things when they definitely did jailbreak, they hit stride, but it didn't stop. And that's the thing that pisses me off and why I think Howie and Hannibal didn't see eye to eye about it, because Hannibal knows all the stuff. But when you sit there and listen to it, like Thunder and Lightning, even that album is fantastic. But
it's
nobody
awesome.
talks about those records.
Mm.
You know, it's nobody talks about Bad Reputation.
That's what I think is a good, that getting back, like that's a good definition of underrated, when they're just not in the everyday conversations with the Led Zeppelins and the Queens and stuff like that. But they had a ton of great records, a ton of great songs that were more or less hits. I mean, they had more hits in Europe and the UK than they did here. People know 2 songs here in the States, and that's about it.
And
What do
maybe
you
3,
think-
maybe Cowboy Song.
Cowboy
Not in the
Song's
States.
so
That
good.
wasn't a hit here at all.
No, but it's incredible.
Yeah.
What do you think contributes to the fact that they weren't in that conversation?
Well, Phil died at 36. So, I mean,
Yeah.
he died early. You know.
Well, that was 85 or 86, though. We're talking about the whole
Right.
70s.
But they have so they've got 3 records pre-jailbreak, 3 or 4 records that are very little known.
I think they
They got-
started to peak. What would you say their peaks are? Like 77, 78, 79, more or less, right? That's
Yeah,
what,
up to
I mean, they
80.
had a few records. So I think that's what leads them to not being mentioned with the other bands. Led Zeppelin was earlier, Black Sabbath was earlier, Queen was earlier. I think that they started to come to prominence when disco music was at its height, and rock was sort of dead at that point.
Yeah, maybe. That's a good point. I'm wondering if it could be like the bell curve of their career, because they had like all their really good records were right in the middle, and then they had some that were not as well known at the end, whereas a band like Led Zeppelin was allowed to exit when they were still, incredibly well respected, and then they just stopped.
But they were a
making
different
music.
kind of band. Like, I mean, they
Ton.
weren't, there was, I mean,
Spitballing.
there wasn't a huge American push for Thin Lizzy that they could have been, but they didn't. Like, Cheap Trick was still popular in the late 70s, and so was Aerosmith. There was no reason why, but they just weren't getting a push. Like, they did not, whatever the record companies were doing, they did not care.
Is it fair to say that if it wasn't for Desmond Child and Diane Warren, we might be having this very same conversation about Aerosmith?
No.
I don't know.
No,
I mean, they had
Aerosmith
their
was
peak
with
in the
Dream
70s,
On.
and then in the 80s, nobody cared until fucking Desmond
But they were
Child
so
came in.
huge.
Aerosmith they were huge, and like they had their 2 careers, the 70s and the 80s. Heart had their 2 careers, the 70s and the 80s. You can't just attribute it to working with songwriters for 1 or 2 hits. But these bands, again, compared to Thin Lizzy, they were already established by the time the late 70s rolled around.
Well, Thin Lizzy's big
Well,
problem
Hart
was
wasn't.
that, Phil and Scott Gorham were both heroin addicts. And that's why Gary Moore, he quit the band in the middle of a U.S. tour and really fucked him over. And he was, the reason he got so pissed was because they were going out and fucking up live because they were both on heroin. So,
And he said, you guys should just be drinking alcohol.
well, back then he wasn't
Like a
drinking.
fish.
Oh, I know. I'm kidding.
It's a good joke.
Yeah. Well, I mean, didn't he die with like a 3 or 4 points?
No,
Like his blood was
that's not true. I've just read two of his biographies about him, and his level of alcohol when he died was not anything abnormal. But
he had a heart attack though, right on the beach or something like that.
No, it was in a hotel room.
Hotel room.
Are you talking about Gary Moore?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he would no. I thought his blood alcohol was really bad that night. From what
that's what they initially said, but it wasn't true. And in both these books, they were saying that he had some wine and maybe a couple of drinks that night, but it was nothing abnormally high.
Got to look at the
Well,
coroner's report.
I think he died in bed with his somewhat new and younger fiance. I think she woke up next to him dead.
True. That's how it happened.
Yikes.
Yeah. And they just gone out to dinner and, had a bottle of wine and a couple of cocktails, and that was it.
If you look at any video, whether it was live footage or he did some like guitar magazine things where he was sitting talking about amps or guitars or whatever of Gary Moore, like in the last 6 to 8 months of his life, he just looked
terrible. Yeah.
Yeah. Horrible. Color was wrong.
He's bloated.
He bloated. He looked like he was not doing well at all. It was sad because he's one of my all-time idols.
Me too. Yeah, no, that
was awesome.
Yeah. But man, what a life that dude had. You should read those books if you get a chance.
Living a life.
In fact, I love his version that he does of "You Don't Love Me." You know that song, Howie?
Yes.
Bow now, bow, bow now, bow now, bow now. And the Allman Brothers do a version of it, but their version stinks compared to his. He's so good, and the leads he plays on that is so cool.
I'm more partial to his quote unquote rock career, like.
I know. Victims of the Future, Corridors of Power.
I liked Still Got the Blues to a point, but it was kind of. I sort of lost interest in him, but the 5 records he did in the 70s and the 80s, his Back on the Streets, and then Corridors, Victims of the Future, Run for Cover, Wild Frontier, and After the War. Like, they're just desert. They're all desert island albums for me.
Now, see, I agree with everything you just said, but recently I've gone back and bought a bunch of the blues stuff that he did later, and really appreciate it more now. Especially one called Power of the Blues. That's a good one. If you just
I have all of them. I bought them as they came out. I'd spin them once or twice, and I'd be like, I love.
You have to be
that last record he did, I can't think of the name of it right. The last one he did before he died, and then he brought Neil Carter back into the band, and he started to do a few more of the rock songs live, and it looked like he was heading in the direction of maybe I'll go back to that. It wouldn't be I think.
Well, you're talking about the Scars album?
I do.
Okay, yeah, because that one, the production was really not so good on that one.
No.
I got to tell you, though, I can't stand Out in the Fields.
Oh, I love that song.
You know what it is? Shanker covered it recently.
What?
And it's on my Spotify. Michael Shanker band covered it.
What?
With they covered it with Robbie. What's the guy? Ronnie. What's his name? That singer that quit. He's not in the band anymore. But
Romero.
Romero.
Yeah.
And I just when I hear the cover, it doesn't matter if you're black or if you're white.
I'm going to have to look that up. I did not know that.
I didn't either, but I think that's a great song.
So I make these mixes when I go to the gym, and then sometimes they'll pick a song, and I'm like, oh, shit, I like this, and I'll add it in there. And that was and so I add it, and then after a while, it's on all the time, and I'm like, I can't deal with it anymore. There's a couple of tunes. I'll tell you, Deep Purple, Perfect Strangers, and Knocking at Your Back Door, I had to take off the list.
Well, I'll tell you, Gary's solo on Out in the Fields is fucking just like out the door.
Oh, the guy's playing's ridiculous.
Right, but he couldn't play that last super fast run. He could never play it live, and they interviewed him about it. He's like, yeah, I shouldn't have done that at the end of that solo because I can never do it.
That's funny.
All right, boys, I gotta bounce. It was very nice to everybody. Howie, good to see you.
I'm sorry to say, but I'm going to have to do the same. Get ready.
Yeah, we're getting at the end here. We got Howie. Thanks so much for coming on, Howie. When you get back home, we'll have you on another Wednesday so we can go over these lists in a easier environment than you're holding the phone.
So yeah, somebody compile a list of songs that you didn't know were cover songs. Because
that'd be a good one.
I'm still finding, just recently there was one, I can't think off the top of my head, but there was a song that I found out was a cover song, and I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. I mean, there's quite a few that I think people don't realize were cover. Here's one people don't know is a cover song.
No, don't save it.
Oh, well, this one because it's not a pop song, but Jeff Beck, because we've ended as lovers, was actually done the year before by Stevie Wonder's wife, Sarita.
Oh, it's so weird you brought that up because I was going to mention I was just reading Jeff Beck's biography, and that's did you know that the Stevie Wonder song "Superstition" was written for Jeff Beck?
Of course, and Stevie released it first.
Well, when his record company heard it, they said, "No, you can't give that song to anybody. Yeah. You got to do it."
But he gave it to Jeff, but Jeff didn't get it out, and he told Jeff he had to hurry to get it out because
not according to this. Not according to this. They said that he wasn't getting it. No, he did write it for him, but before
he did it. Jeff did it the same year. He did it with Bogart and a piece.
Yeah, but much later.
No. Let me see. Let me look up the year.
I can't scroll back that far in the chat. They're talking about the first Fastway album, which I love. Why are you guys talking about that in there?
They're talking about who is the lead singer on it.
Dave King.
He was the guy from the.
Sorry?
He was the guy who sang that was the guy in the Young Dubliners, right? That guy?
Yeah, Dave
Okay,
King.
it came out in March of 73. He recorded it in 72.
Who, Beck?
Yeah.
And when did Stevie put it out?
72 on the Talking Book album.
Okay, which was first. Yeah.
I said it was first.
Okay.
But I'm telling you, Stevie had recorded it and gave it to what's his face and said, here, you can do this. And I forget why Stevie had made a comment like, you want to hurry and get it out, and then Stevie ended up putting it out without his, like the label wanted it out. But I saw something where Stevie told him, hey, he wrote it for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Stevie played it on the clav. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but they did it. They did it fairly soon after.
I think it's Stevie playing drums on his version too.
Yeah, Stevie played a lot of drums on his albums.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Record.
Thanks.
All right, Howie. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. Appreciate it.
Fuck, I'm trying to talk and my mic has been off.
Oh, I was like wondering. I'm like, what are you looking?
Yeah, I'm like, that's fucking rude to me. I didn't notice my mic was off. So I was saying, Howie, the list I'm going to save, it's called 25 cover songs that are better than the originals.
Okay.
That's as close as I can get.
25 better.
Can we also make the next time I come on, make it so it's pants optional?
Yes.
We'll
all be in towels.
I'll be in a
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night,
we have a good show tomorrow night, man.
Thank you, sir. See you guys. It was fun.
All right, later, man. All right, gents, anything else?
I didn't want to say nothing negative about Stryper while Howie was here because he played for them and he's friends with the guy. But if I go to see a Stryper concert, they better play To Hell with the Devil 12 times, and that's all I want to know. Is there any other song?
I didn't even know. I don't know one song by them.
Just play To Hell with the Devil about 12 times, because if you don't play that 12 times, I'm going to go up on stage and start swinging.
You could have told him. He would have found it funny. I know Beat finds it funny.
He didn't write this.
You think it's fucking funny. It's not fucking funny.
What does Hitler think about it?
Oh, somebody has to tell Hitler that Bob Dylan is the #1 songwriter according to Rolling Stone. What Hitler has to say. Does not look pleased.
Well,
no.
Finally, he'll get Stevie Ray's tone.
Exact. That bit is so good. You can't drive a Stratocaster without an overdrive. I love that bit.
Oh my god! And I love at the end where he resigns himself to the fact that my mistake was getting a TS-808 knockoff. I'll go on eBay, even if I have to pay top price. He's just
Collector prices.
He's just so defeated. He just doesn't get it.
By the way, folks, that clip and that whole Stevie Ray Vaughan thing is from a movie called Downfall. I highly recommend it.
One of the best fucking movies.
It's a subtitled movie, but really a great watch. And the acting in it's phenomenal. It's subtitled, yeah. But the acting in it's just unbelievable. And oddly enough, the movie's not about Hitler trying to get Stevie Ray Vaughan's tone. That I found a shock when I finally saw that scene and they were talking about the Ninth Army. I'm like, wait a minute, Army? It's supposed to be talking about a tube screamer here. All right, folks, listen, we want to thank everyone for hanging out. We want to thank Joe for hanging out. I want to thank Matt for hanging out. We also want to thank John who left early, and Howie. And anything else you guys want to say for Matt may not be here next week. Krell was sleeping tonight.
So, happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
It's Thanksgiving. Oh, it's next week?
Yeah.
Next Thursday, week from tomorrow. Yeah.
Oh my God, and I just got a bird.
So we'll be here Thanksgiving Eve.
Oh yeah, we'll be here Thanksgiving Eve. That's good. Oh, I'll have a bird in the oven. Excellent. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. And I was gonna say
goodbye.
No, maybe not. No, maybe not this time. I was thinking about I might do a cigar live on Friday. It's going to be 65 degrees here on Friday. So I might go outside and smoke a cigar and do a cigar talk Friday afternoon. So be on the lookout for that. Let me look up my outro. Okay, here's my outro. All right, everyone. Very good.
Very good.
Okay.